There was no purpose in rushing things. I had plenty of time. I had eternity. I stayed in bed for a week, showing by proper signs that I was regaining my strength. Watching my newfound wife was an endless source of entertainment. She so obviously wanted to kill me, and yet didn't dare. Bending over me, feeding me, I'd probe her mind and find it hard not to grin. Poison of all sorts would silently occur to her and as silently be rejected. I would certainly have had a lot more respect for her. Yeah. If she'd tried something, the thoroughly damned fool couldn't know that it would have helped her if she tried to kill me. It would have caused me to lessen her tortures below. But she didn't, which gave me pleasurable speculation on her future treatment in the great prince's domain. 7 days behind me, and I got up. She argued prettily against it, but I insisted. Then, as I was finishing my coffee at the table, "Please be careful, sweet. Since you do insist on going to the office, watch yourself on the street. Corners, and don't walk too fast." Street corners. Street corners. Her mind. Let him die. Oh God. Let a taxi or a truck catch him, and my mind. Hang on. My mind. Don't worry, my pet. Things are going to work out all right, but not for you. I've got plans for you. I will unfold them tonight. Aloud? "I'll be careful, honey, and thanks for everything. I'll have a big surprise for you tonight." At the door I kissed her, laughed inwardly at what she was thinking, and went down the walk to the bus stop. Okay. Yeah. My thoughts were busy as I spoke to my... My thoughts were busy as I rode to my office. I knew, naturally, about my employees. Several I had already earmarked. Their minds would always be open to me for necessary information. No, it wasn't that. It was concern about starting something big that would ensure a steady delivery of mortal merchandise to the great prince. Short as the time I'd been given on Earth, I was already itching for action. I was always ambitious. I got out at my stop, walked into my building, and was whisked up to my office. I'd toyed with the thought of materializing myself at my desk, but there's a time and a place for humour. I am a very logical person. I always have been. Modest, too. I opened the door to the main office and entered. My employees were lined up to receive me. Their congratulations upon my recovery fell in waves about me as I made for my desk. Most of them didn't mean it, and they were the ones whose voices sung their gratitude the loudest. Old Hamilton was pathetically glad. "It is good to see you again, sir. We were all quite worried." He meant it too. He was the type who drew his salary and repaid it in full with loyalty. "Thank you, Hamilton. By the way, how is your son?" "He is improving, sir. The doctors say it is a matter of time." It wasn't a matter of time at all. An instant of inner probing into his mind told me that his son needed the attention of high-priced specialists. Hamilton couldn't afford that. As he walked away, my will slipped a quick thought into his unsuspecting head. By nightfall, he would be resenting the fact that I had money for expensive medical attention and that his son hadn't. Tomorrow he would spend in brooding over ways and means of getting the money, and by nightfall he would have found a way of getting at the cash in the safe. He would be caught. The Hamiltons of this world always are. The shame of giving way to dishonesty would be too much for him. Suicide to him would be the only way out. The great prince would welcome Hamilton to his realm. Personally. That's not what you want, hey Teddy? No. He is very fond of one-time sinners who take themselves and their egos so seriously. He reserves a special treatment for them. It is very interesting and very agonizing. This story's rough. I let my eyes rove over the rest of them. I had plans, my plans. The hours fled quickly with my thinking. My secretary brought me some papers to sign as the others said their goodbyes, good nights, and left for the day. You look worried, Miss Ellsworth. I'm sorry, Mr. Julius. It's my fiancé. He's on a selling trip. I haven't heard from him in a week or two. 2 weeks. Oh. Her fiancé was, at that very moment, hurrying home. His trip had been a very successful one, provided him with the money they'd needed to get married upon and set up a home. A quick last look to make sure we were the only ones in the office, and then I let my form dissolve, change. The doctor, who had come up in response to my telephone call, shook his head sadly. She'll pull through this, Mr. Julius, but her heart, bad. Wait, what's going on? What's going on? Okay, wait. Hang on. Okay. I'm just going to read that again because... A quick last look to make sure we were the only ones left in the office, he and the secretary. Oh, that's really neat. And then I let my form dissolve, change. The doctor who came up in response to my telephone call shook his head sadly. She'll pull through this, Mr. Julius, but her heart, bad. Liable to go any time, eh? Yes, too bad. She's so young and good-looking. All very amusing. On learning the new condition of her heart, she would feel it unfair to get married. Her fiancé, impetuous, young, would insist. There would be strain between them, a strain that would lead to wounds that would not heal. What made it all the better was that their love was a genuine one. Their lives would be irretrievably shattered, their unhappiness complete. Fuck, this guy's a prick. But we knew that. Once again, I was alone. I locked the office and, on a sudden whim, waited for the elevator. It was a rewarding experience because it was quite full. I stepped back, saying I would wait for the next trip. It goes without saying that there was no next trip. An instantaneous change into demonic form. The elevator cable shriveling between my flaming fingers. The loaded car plunging wildly down the shaft. A pretty picture. I laughed all the way home. My wife was very careful to convince me of her love that night. Her puerile mind had decided during the day that I was to be done away with. An overdose of sleeping tablets was what this futile female had decreed for me. My details would be ascribed to my getting out of a sick bed too soon. Dinner over, we retired to the living room and pretended to read. She was going over mentally the method she would use to convince me to take the drink she'd prepared. I made it easy for her. Tomorrow's going to be a tough day at the office, honey. Sure wish I had something that would help me get a good night's rest. I don't know how you feel. She got up so fast that her chair went over. Her words came tumbling out. Why, darling, I have just the thing for you. I bought some nice wine today. I'll get it at once. Hey, buddy. Hey. Do you want to go out? Go on. Go on. getting him some wine. She was so obvious about it all that I almost felt sorry for her. As she poured the wine before me, she spilt a few scarlet drops in her nervous haste. "Here, it will make you feel much better, much better." I took a sip and nearly gagged. The fool must have dissolved an entire box of the sleeping tablets in the wine. The taste couldn't have fooled an idiot. What's the matter, dear?" "Nothing," I replied. "It's fine." I downed it all in a gulp. "How about another?" Her good fortune almost demoralized her. The frantic speed with which she refilled my glass was pitiful. I tossed this one down as fast as the other. Then I went into my act. I had, of necessity, to pass out for a while because the body I was using was human. She must have used the time making up her mind which speech she was going to give the doctor she would summon. Also, the instructions she would deliver with wifely tears. As my eyes opened, she was about to lift the phone off its cradle. I willed her to look at me. "Wait a second. Didn't the great prince say that his blood was not to be contaminated? And isn't that what alcohol does? Doesn't that go right to your bloodstream? Or is that just my imagination? Let's find out what happens. Maybe I'm jumping the gun." Her mouth opened, closed. No sound came forth. Her eyes widened, became glazed. She wasn't pretty to look at, and, for that matter, neither was I. Oh. I let the flesh slow from my frame in chunks. I let my skeletal remains crumble to the floor in a disordered heap. A long, low moan was coming from deep within her. Her fingers kept plucking at her face. I reassembled my body, except for my head. That I kept in my lap as I sat down. There's some sort of advertisement on this page just here. They're just 24-carat gold-plated birthstone ring. No. Poems wanted. Any book in print. Something for free. Blah, blah, blah. Inventors. Magic and card tricks. Songwriters. Blackheads. Must go. Or your money back. Ads from Weird Tales magazine. What is it, 1946? Wait, oh shit. Silly me. 1946.